Hi guys, welcome again to another tutorial where we're going to be dealing with mistakes to avoid during the examination for computerized financial systems N4. As you're going to be writing examinations, you can collect enough marks or maximum marks to pass the exam, even to get a distinction if you avoid the mistakes that I'm going to show you next. Okay, let us go to the question paper. I'm going to be using as an illustration Pen Cafe question paper, which is the question paper which was written, I think it was written recently, and I'm going to only highlight the items that gives you marks, what to avoid. Okay, from the top here, firstly, read the whole question paper, because if you just jump certain things, you may not do additional setup and you may miss out on maximum marks. So let us go into the question paper. The first in this page that you see in front of us right now here, you will go through it. It's going to be giving you instruction about certain basic rules during the examinations, what you are entitled to, our time that you are entitled to, how many minutes is supposed to be given to you to actually sort your document and the likes. But I want to go down to where the marks are at. Okay, on this one, they'll give instruction in terms of how to enter your details so that all your printout should have your proper details, so that your printout must be allocated to you. Okay, but let us go to the things that matter, that gives you marks, and then if you make mistakes here, you're gonna lose marks. For example, the question starts here. It says question 1. That's question 1. So it starts with question 1 with some information that you have to read. But what are the key information on this first question is that it tells you that there are additional things that you're supposed to capture. Where are they? They are gonna fall in the next page. Now, if you also check now here, it says 1.1.1 already set up. So things that are already been done for you, move on. Don't waste more time on things that are already done for you in the question paper. Go to the next page. Okay, we're gonna go to the next page. On the next page, if you can check here, the question is silence on general ledger. It's silent. It means what? You must already make a note that if the general ledger's got transactions and they are not saying it's already been captured, it means you are going to capture opening balances, which can give you close to anything between 15 to 20 marks. Okay, let us just go and quickly check, because they are not saying it's already set up. Means you're going to do it. It probably might be one of your first questions. Let us go to it. Boom. When you go to your question or printout list or question list, you realize that general journal batch listing is one of the question, and it gives you 17 marks. Hence, they didn't say there it's already been done. It means they put it as one of the questions, as one of the work that you're going to be doing as part of this examination. You already have 17 marks for that one. So let us go back to the top of the question paper and check what are other instructions, and then how do they also match with the question list here at the back. Okay, we already know that you're going to do the opening balances. So you already know that as one of the printer that you're going to do. Let us move with our question paper downwards. Here, 1.1.1.3. Okay, I'm gonna go back up. This was 1.1.2. Now we are at 1.1.3. 1.1.3, it says already been done. Things that are done for you, you just note them. These balances are already been done. These balances are also been done. So you pass. It means you're going to be doing nothing on those. So let us look at what you're going to be doing. We're moving down with the question paper. You come here. You remember you have to read. And then they tell you that stock as on 29th of February 2024 already set up. So it means stock is already been set up for you. Now, you don't see stock here. Remember, you don't see stock here. So, where is the stock? So, if you move down a little, if you move down a little, here is your stock. Here is your stock. Here's your stock. Here are your quantities. You are told that it's already been done. I've seen students recapturing these items here, wasting almost like 30 to 45 minutes. Do not waste time on things that are already been done for you. If they say it's already been done, so do not capture these items. They're already in the system. So even though the instruction is at the top there, the stock list is at the bottom. So avoid duplicating work. So the stock is already been captured for you. Do not capture it again. Let's go back up. So now the instruction is here, but the stock list is at the bottom. So it relates to the same thing. So do not recapture stock. Now, as you read here, they say the trading stock of the business will be updated on a continuous basis with every purchase or sale of trading stock items. All stock purchases are made by means of a supplier invoice. A means of supplier invoice, and then all sales by means of tax invoice. Hey guys, this is very important. Supplier invoice and tax invoice. Now you see, they giving you the names already of the document, that the document between us and the people who bring us stock, that document is called a supplier invoice. It's called a supplier invoice. And the document between us and our customers is called a tax invoice. Why they're telling you this? I'm going to show you why they're telling you this. They're telling you this because they gonna ask you somehow. They may not. I'm going to show you what they may not do what. They may ask you, when you come here, on create the following inventory item, and then they may also ask you to provide on additional info, additional setup. They may ask you to name the document, like document setup. They may say, give this document a proper name, like they will put a question mark on the supplier invoice name, and then you have to give it the name and call it supplier invoice. So when you come to this additional parameters, the additional parameters here, and then the one that you passed at the front page, you may find that they ask you things that relate to those two documents. Supply invoice and tax invoice are two documents that you need to know how to set up so properly. So going back to that, we were here. So you know your two main documents, supply invoice and tax invoices. Now, one also important thing that students always don't do correctly, this thing here, the stock item already, the stock items have already been set up. They are telling you for the second time that stock is already being set up. So please don't waste time setting up stock. It's done already. And then the business adds a 30% profit markup on the cost price of stock. Now, some students do not know how to calculate selling price when giving the markup. You must know that when you're giving 30, every percentage that they say they're gonna add, you add it to what? You add it to 100. So it means selling price. Your selling price will be 100 over 130 over 100. I'm gonna demonstrate what I'm talking about. Okay, let us demonstrate by using this invoice here, Silver Ray. And then when you scroll it down, you'll see that every time there is a mark, you must know that there is a note at the bottom. Chances are that we are buying a new item from a supplier. We are buying a new item from a supplier. If you're buying a new item from the supplier, this becomes the cost price. This is the cost price. If this is the cost price, we need to load this item as a new item or as a new inventory. And if we load this as a new inventory, we need to calculate the selling price. And the calculation of the selling price is by what? We are told from the question paper that the business add 30% markup. If they add 30%, I said the selling price is calculated at 130. So if we bring up our calculator, right now, so our selling price is going to be calculated at 18.45 cents multiplied by 130 divided by 100. So our new selling price is going to be 23 rand 99 cents. So don't make any mistake, student. Do this. They take 18.45 and they multiply it by 30 divided by 100, and they get this. And you can see you cannot buy something at 18.45 and sell it at 5 rand. However, other students, they do this long method and add back the 5 rand to the 18, which is correct. But imagine if you forgot and you don't add. So rather do the 130. You know that the amount that comes out of the calculator becomes your selling price. If you go back up, please check this. Additional parameter setup that they said you must do. See, they told you at the beginning there, now it's coming up here. And then, so be very patient with the question paper. It's got a couple of instructions before you can go to the main things. Okay? I'll show you, because you are told about additional parameter setup here. But if you go up, if I go a bit down, 1.2.3, you're gonna create something. So this is very critical. This part here, this is very critical. Mistake that you must never do is to jump this part, and when you just go and do transactions, and then you go and try to process documents, you go and try to process invoices because you want to print out and collect. No, if you didn't do this, you are not doing justice to yourself, because you're gonna miss out on a couple of marks, especially on the document numbers, document names, and then the references. You know, there are a couple of things that when you do here, you're gonna benefit later during processing of source document like supplier invoice and customer invoice, because even this document themselves, they need to be set up where you set them up at the setup customer document and set up supplier document, where you need to follow all these instructions to do them. Change their names, change their entry types, correct their entry types, give them the correct names, give them the document numbers, so that when you print it can say DN001. You have to do them. If you jump this stage, you're going to lose out on a couple of marks. You've seen students lose marks because they are jumping all these stages. So do all this setup. Rename a return and debit note document to debit note. It's very important, because you're going to get a mark when the document says debit note. It no longer says return and debit. Link the debit note with the correct entry type. Very, very important, because if you don't link it, you'll see the document behaving funny because you didn't link it. If you didn't link it, it's gonna misbehave when you try to process. It's gonna say, I don't know what instruction you're giving me. And then the input of the debit note must be, this one is like a document number. You get a mark for the correct document number. If you just, some people put random numbers like 001. So don't put random numbers, like also on customer invoices. The notes, the thank you notes and stuff, when they appear on your source document, you get marks. So these are very, very important. And then change the account access of general to any account. Very, 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 very important. Some of this I'm going to show you on the actual pastels, how to change them. But I want to note that because some of this you already know, but you must remember what mistakes to avoid. It's very important to know which mistakes to avoid. Also, after you create that, you must create this delivery. with the mistake the students do is that they don't capture the selling price. They capture it on the cost price, and then on the invoice, on the price, it shows 0. The person who took 100 kilometers, 0, and then there's no total amount because on the invoice we mark the total amount. I'm gonna demonstrate with an actual invoice on the next video, but please note it says selling price. You must capture it at the selling price, not at the cost. If you at least make a mistake, you must capture it at the cost, same amount at cost and same amount at the selling price. Then when you process invoices, it's going to pick up what you charge your customers for delivery. This is per kilometer. Okay, and then you're gonna remember to untick the sales commissions, because most businesses, they don't have sales commissions. All this, just need to capture them. Now 1.4, it goes back to what we said at the beginning when you saw those balances there. It says 1.1.5, process the opening balances of the inventory items in the relevant journals. Use INV as a reference, and then a ratio. Here you are not duplicating the item, you are just capturing the opening balances of the inventory. Now your general journal, your 17 marks is this one. Opening balances of the general journal, of the general ledger accounts. 29 February, date is very important. This is the 17 marks of those opening balances at the beginning of the question paper that you must load. And in this in this one, all you need to know, you need to be able to remember, you just need to remember your accounting, whether assets are debited, credited, your liabilities, your expenses, your income, and your equity, your owner's equity transactions. It's debit and credit. Also, remember, when you do the general ledger opening balances, do the settings first. You must do the settings first with your debit and credit, and create your contra account. Create your contra account. After you're done this, collected your 17 marks, now you start processing the source documents. Now, key things to remember on source documents. You are going to get two types of suppliers. You are going to find non-stock suppliers and stock suppliers. So every time you get a document like this document here, this one, ask yourself a question. Am I buying stock for sales, or am I buying items that are used in business, like your stationery, your furniture, your car? If you are not buying stock for sales, we call that document a non-stock, like this document right here in front of us here. What are we buying? Check. We are buying steel racks, and then they are already telling you that it's an office equipment. So you are not buying stock. If you are not buying stock, you capture it under what? The books, the journals. Is a supplier's journal. You make a note that it's a supplier's journal, so that you're going to load it at the correct book. Because in business, you got various books. So every item must go to its book. So this document right there goes to the supplier's journal. Because why? It is a non-stock invoice. We are buying equipment. There's courier there. And then let us go to the next document and interpret it. And then remember to also do to modify the ledger accounts here. Modify the ledger accounts before this document, before you process it. Every time you see a note, you must know that you're gonna do something. Then you do that. If you answer the note first, then you process after. You answer the note first, you process after. And then we're gonna go to the next document and check where you're gonna put it. Now, ask yourself another question here. What are we buying? You can see we are buying the things that we sell in business. That is why we call it, this one we call it a supplier invoice. The other one we call it a supplier's journal. So here is a supplier's invoice. The other one goes to journals. This one goes to suppliers invoices, because why? We are buying stock. This one is a stock item invoice. The other one is a non-stock item invoice. So we mark these figures here. That is why the cost prices must be correct. So on this invoice, you can collect multiple of marks. Firstly, this item right here is gonna give you more marks because it's new. You're gonna create a new item because it's not in the system, so you're gonna have a mark for creating it, and you're gonna have a mark for the correct total there. And you're gonna get obviously marks here and here, and you're gonna get marks for the discount. You're gonna have marks for also early terms discount. You're gonna get the marks for the reference. So on this document alone, you can collect up to almost 8 marks, because I can already see about 6 marks there. So in average, at least not less than 6 marks you're gonna collect from this document. So please, putting it in the correct book is very important. All the supply invoices got lots of marks, so put them in the correct document, correct file. Don't put a non-stock item on the stock item and a stock item on a non-stock item. You are putting them in wrong books, which means that is like wrong accounting. So do not account them in the wrong locations. So I think you've seen how you collect marks on this one. Let us go down to the next document. On the next document, also check, is it a stock or non-stock? You can see we are buying 5 boxes of printable white labels. It's non-stock. We don't sell printable white labels. We use them in business. So it's a non-stock, it's a supplier's journal. And then even on this one, you're gonna collect marks by capturing the right descriptions, the right amount. You're gonna get marks for putting it in a correct ledger. So you got 2 transactions here because you also have courier. You got that. You got the reference. So on this document, you can collect at least up to 7 marks also on the non-stock invoice. Put correct document on the correct location, then you're gonna collect marks. And then another thing that you must note, these notes that you see here, they are meant for you to collect marks. If they put this item here that Pen Cafe bought labels, that bought labels that they want to use for the pricing of the inventory items from the new supplier, Red Labels, the supplier code. And so Red Label is using a new supplier, Redfed. So it means note number 3, you are going to create a new supplier. So every time you create something new, you must know it's additional marks for you. So collect additional marks by creating this guy. You create this guy with all his details. Everything is there. Text is there. His phone numbers are there. Okay, he's got the reference. His postal address is there, and delivery is there. The postal and the delivery are given to you. So capture him. All the details are on the documents. All the details that you need are there. So you capture that, and then you collect additional marks for creating. Then you're gonna get the marks for processing the invoice. So this document alone will give you marks for creating the supplier and for loading the document. And we said it's a non-stock, because we are buying stationery. We are not buying things that we sell. We are buying things that we use in business. Another invoice here, which is also, we are buying HP laser printer See, we are buying equipment or office equipment. If we buy office equipment, it's non-stock, it's a supplier's journal, and then we load it in the correct journal, supplier's journal, with all the correct information and collect marks. It's very important to interpret documents quickly, process them quickly, put all the relevant information like reference, descriptions, correct amount, and then full description in terms of how much is each. You must type it as it is, because supplier's journal doesn't give you a lot of columns. It allows you on the description to type the full description. And then another thing that you must remember on supplier's journal, you capture inclusive. You're gonna have to do your settings where you capture in the inclusive, and then the system is gonna automatically calculate the exclusive amount. So capture inclusive. Remember, capture inclusive. Another mistake that students do is that they forget where they are returning to. Let's take Silveray. So if Silveray was our supplier and we were buying stock from him, we're buying stock and not non-stock, we're buying stock from him, it means we are going to put the return that we are sending back to him on what you call a debit note. Because why? We were buying stock from him. If we were buying a non-stock, we're gonna put it on a supplier allowances. So because you are buying stock, we use a supply invoice. Supply invoice goes with debit note, because a supply invoice is like a creditors control. So creditors control get created, but when we return, we debit. It becomes a debit. It's a debit transaction. Hence, at the beginning there, they told you to rename return and debit to debit note. If we go back there, they said rename the return and debit to debit note. Here, they say rename the return and debit document to debit note. It's for our suppliers, this document. So remember, this information is very key. And then but if you are already an accounting person, this language becomes easier for you. Back to our debit note, you have to capture, here it's quick marks here. Capture the items and the quantities correctly, capture the reasons per item, reason per item, because there is 1 mark per reason. And then also pull out this original invoice here that was of Silveray, so that we capture the reference. The reference is very important. The invoice number, the supply invoice number of when we were buying this from him becomes the reference in this document. It's very, 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 very important. Okay guys, thank you for watching. I've tried to look into the question paper up to the source documents, customer document and supplier document, which has your tax invoices and supply invoices, your opening balances of the journal, and those items cover a whole lot. If you look at the key ones, I'm going to look at this one as a key one, which is 17 marks, and 10 marks for supply invoices, 10 marks for debit note, 10 marks for tax invoice, which are customers, the sales, and then 8 marks for the credit note, the returns, and supplier journals. Remember the non-stock transactions that we seen there, that we put in the supplier's journal, and then the supplier allowances journal. So we have not done the books, the cash books yet. We are here. I can tell you right now, with this part only, you have passed the examination. But that doesn't limit you from also continuing you to collect more marks on your cash books. I'm gonna do in the next video interpret transaction that goes into these items below, because I was here now. I was here up there. I'm gonna do now this part here. This part. So with this part, you've got almost your 50% into the examination. Now you are topping up so that you guarantee yourself a pass into of the examination. Thanks for watching, And then until the next video, I don't want the video to be too long. I understand that your question paper is very long. Your N4 question paper is very long.